Hey everybody, this is Chelsea Schaefer.
And Caitlin Gustov.
And this is The Score, the official podcast of the sport of team roping. This is the Team Roping Journal's semi-weekly podcast highlighting the team roping industry's top talents and influencers through stories that inspire and connect ropers. We sit down with ropers from the professional ranks as well as industry icons and producers to delve into topics that make the team roping world tick. This is Season 2. It will feature even deeper interviews, storytelling, and issue-based coverage, and we are so excited you're here. Jay Wadhams is a hired gun, a jack of all trades, and a businessman. The NFR heeler and BFI Champ from Pueblo, Colorado, has made his name in the AQHA horse show game, most recently winning the senior heeling on the Stallion Smart New Shiner back in 2017. His famous partnership with his cousin JD Yates has built a dynasty of great rope horses, and now, along with his wife, he's expanding even farther to build the American Rope Horse Futurity Association and its World Championships, coming up this October 16th through 18th in Fort Worth, Texas. Casually called the Rope Horse Futurity, the event adds $100,000 and pays $25,000 to the winning 4 to 6-year-old on each end. It's got a 4-year-old incentive and an incentive division for lower number ropers, as well as a non-pro that's held on Saturday, October 19th this year. The event is a must-see, and I hope this interview tells you why. We recorded it on the day entries were due, and so we're excited to see how many teams and how many guys on each end that they get for this roping. So, without further ado, enjoy Jay Wadhams. Thanks again, Jay. Before we get started, I've got to let you know this podcast is brought to you by ADM Animal Nutrition and their Stay Strong product line. Stay tuned to find out more about this product later in the episode. Well, I just hit record, so I'm glad that we are able to do this. We've been talking about this. I wanted to do this last year before the Futurity. And
Right.
You're a busy man.
Oh, yes. We're always on the move. So...
Now, give us a little background. So we are about a month out from the Rope Horse Futurity?
Yep. We're just about a month out. Our entry deadlines are actually today, but I'm sure this week is when the gist of them will come in. We're looking at probably 80 to 100 head of head horses again, and probably right around that 100 mark in the heeling. So in our non-pro, I think it'll fill up this year. So I think... it was just new last year, and the heeling didn't quite fill up, but we took a few more in the heading, so it just all worked. But I think the word's out now. So
this is going to be the third year for the Futurity, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell me how the idea came about. I know there had been little different things tried as far as Rope Horse Futurities over the year.
Well, me and my wife Lindsay been doing this for, I think this is the 15th or the 16th year, and when we first started them, it was all judged. And I couldn't really get the added money we needed. I still got all the horse show people, but I just kept messing with the time part of it, and I think we got it right now. I'm not going to say it's perfect yet. There's still probably some tweaking to do on it, but a lot of times the rodeo guys and jackpot guys can figure out how, when they come to a horse show, that if I roped a leg and they roped 2 feet, how I beat them. And I think combining that time with the judges' scores has really helped us, plus the added money, and that's really helped us. So
Dean Tufton stepped up and put the added money the first 2 years. You guys have a bunch of sponsors this year?
Well, actually, Dean Tufton, he actually, we did these, me and Lindsay, for about 13 or 14 years by ourselves. And I was just always waiting for that big chance, and Dean got it in with the Snaffle Bib Futurity. Mm-hmm. So Dean called me after all that happened, and he says, "Do you want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to do it." And I said, "Well, what are we going to do?" And Dean said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you $50,000." So I was sitting right here in this chair, and I said, "Well, you know what? I'll do $50,000 too." And my wife looked at me and was like, "What did you just do?" And I'm like, "If it's ever going to work, it's going to work now. We're going to be done." Obviously, it's worked. Dean helped us get where we are today, and it just, it's so new, and it's hard to get sponsors. I got a lot of sponsors. People are wanting to help, but I really would like to get everything paying a lot more money.
Sure.
I truly see that my 4-year-old, I would love for it to pay $15,000 in 10 places someday, and also my limited open guys. That's the growth, the two sides of it. It's it's tough. You get Joseph Harrison, Trey Yates, Billy Jack Sabins, and Paul Eves. I know is coming this year. I'm getting a lot of guys that wouldn't even think about going to a horse show. Obviously, Joseph goes to a lot of horse shows, but it's tough. But the growth is on the 4-year-old and the limited open guys.
Okay. Now, what about this time in the history of team roping makes it perfect
I
for
think
Rope Horse Futurities?
This was perfect timing. I think, there's so many people roping now. There's so many people that have made money that want to go out there and they want to buy a really good looking, really broke horse, and they're not afraid to spend some money for one. Everybody wants to look good when they ride in the pen, and people can afford them now. And these ropings are paying so much money, which is phenomenal. Denny Gentry has done a great job with all of that, and I think this just gives us a place to showcase some good horses, and each year here in Fort Worth, I get more people coming, more people in the stands, and for the ropers. I know, like, Driggers was there the first year, Nick Sartain, some of them guys, and they were up there watching, looking for good horses. They all climbed down out of the grandstand trying to buy good young horses because they're always looking, And I think there's just going to be a lot more people this year, especially with what we're doing with a final performance type of a deal on Friday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to do all the finals of the Futurity heading and the Futurity heeling. So, and I think the other thing, too, is I tell a lot of the families with young kids, I go to high school rodeos with my son, and I'm like, you want to take your kids someplace to go watch some good guys rope and rope correctly. It's not about being 3 flat, and it's not about being, fast or 4 flat. Come watch Ryan Motes, Joseph Harrison, Billy Jack, Trey Yates. These guys are phenomenal. I love to watch it all day. Chad Masters, JoJo will be there. There's just a lot of good team ropers there now, and it's good watching.
Yeah, I know last year we wrote a story about it, but I loved watching the helpers. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Watching Clay Smith and Chad Masters do work.
All those guys, and I know I'm probably leaving some out, but it's just it's just good watching, and they're all riding good horses. I know my cattle guy Zane Edmondson. He said, that's the best roping to watch all year. There's so many good horses and so many good ropers,
Yeah, we've gone since the first year and are going to go again. I'm bringing my whole family this year, so it's great watching for sure. We fly in for it.
Well, I've told a lot of people, I said, come down there and watch it. Now they come every year, And not only what's great about the roping is, you can go there and you can watch Thursday and Friday and Saturday mornings are non-pro, but then the Snaffle Bitch, they pay out over $1 million there on Saturday afternoon, so it's a great venue all weekend of good horse.
Yeah,
things,
it's really cool that I don't know the politics of it, but moving it all to Fort Worth was a nice move.
It was
for us in the team roping world.
Yeah,
anyway.
it was a nice move for everything. The best part, people can come there, and if they get interested, they can go talk to one of these trainers and, be like, well, I'm interested in getting into this. Well, so-and-so's got a really nice 3-year-old over here that's probably not going to go on in the cow horse. Go over there and talk to one of those cow horse trainers. Go over there and buy you a horse. Put him in training. You got 4, 5, and 6. Now as we start the 7, 8, and 9-year-old deal, it just keeps going. So
yeah, tell me about the growth that you want to see in the Futurity. You said that you were talking about the 7, 8, and 9-year-old.
Well, I want to start a maturity this year. I've had a number of guys call me, and they've got a lot of horses aging out, and so they need something to do with them. And a lot of these amateurs or non-pros, they buy these horses and they want to leave them in training with these trainers, and they still want to come rope. Well, I feel like, we need to, if those non-pros have a 7, 8, or 9-year-old that they can put in a maturity, they'll enter them there, and then they can ride them also, and someday as we get more sponsors, I want to add more money to it. Right now, it's going to be like a $1,000 entry fee with a 75-80% payback, just to get it started and see how it goes. So
now, for years, I've heard rumor that there was going to be a sale around the Rope Horse Futurity, and that makes sense. All the big barrel horse futurities have sales.
Right.
Is that in your plans at all, or?
To be real honest, Dean wanted to try to do a sale, and be real honest, I know nothing about sales. There's going to have to be somebody who knows. I'm not one of those that's going to jump into something that don't understand it and make it fail. I wish somebody would step up and try to put on a sale with us down there, you know. But right now, if somebody come to me and maybe wanted to try to put one together, I'm for it, you know. And I know Dean is for it, but it's just, you know, he's busy, I'm busy, and I don't understand him. So maybe someday we'll get something put together.
Now, do you think, you talked about the cow horse prospects. Obviously, a lot of cow horse prospects end up at your fraternity one day or another. Do you see a big opportunity for growth in the breeding market, in specifically breeding for rope horses rather than cow horse rejects, barrel horse rejects, you know?
Well, I think that, you know, a lot of people breed for that cutter or they breed for that cow horse, and, you know, not every horse makes it. So this is a great outlet for those horses who don't make it. I got a number of cow horse trainers this year that are entering the Futurity. First off, because they can train a good horse. Those guys are, you know, they're phenomenal. But they see where they can come over there and make money, keeping the horse in training, plus going here and trying to sell it to one of these guys. You know, like Luke Jones last year, you know, he's been a rope horse trainer forever, but he's been a cow horse trainer forever. He come there and he was winning in the limited part of it. He was winning in the Futurity part of it. He won $35,000 on a rope horse Futurity last year, and I think he's a number 5 or a 5+. And then he went over there across the way at the cow horse finals and won another $35,000 or $40,000, you know. And I think those guys are starting to see that there's both sides where they can go. It's not just coming there and roping against Joseph Harrison and Trey and all these guys I talk about. There's still, it's like an incentive part there that they can come and, you know, if they rope good, yeah, they can beat those guys because they'll be on good horses. But you know, it just gotta put your money up, see what happens.
Now, JD's won it the last 2 years in the heading.
Yes.
Is JD obviously is a dynasty with you and Trey, as far as creating show horses and great horses, period. Right. Is that good for the sport or bad for the sport when there's somebody that
Well, I think it's been good for the sport because you got, you know, JD's not only trained some good AQHA rope horses, he's known to ride a good horse everywhere he goes. So him training that horse was great, but that horse aged out, you know, and he's got some good horses, but that horse was just kind of in a group by himself, you know. Yeah. It's kind of like Patron with Joseph right now. That horse is phenomenal, you know, and those horses that are that good just stick out, and when you put two good riders on them like that, they're going to win a lot unless the riders stub their toe. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's what everybody else is hoping for. I know last year at the World Show, Joseph was showing Patron, and his header missed, you know. Well, we all just took a sigh of relief because we knew we could probably have a chance to win first. You know, it's just the way it is. When them horses are that good and got that kind of a rapport, you know, that's just what it is, you know. So, and it's what a great achievement to have a horse like that, you know. So, but, you know, Joseph's going to have some more good ones. I know JD's going to have some more good ones, and that's just, you know, the way it is. But what a lot of people don't understand is how many horses they go through to find horses like that. You know, they're special. So, but that's what we want. I've always said that, you know, people call and say, what are you looking for, you know? And, you know, I'm looking for that horse that you can go win on at the BFI. You know, that's what we're looking for, those old horses like Charles Bogrode. Stuff. You know, that's the horses we're looking for. Not so much that great big ass drag like we've had in AQHA. You know, just good horses. You know, I think that's a great foundation for one, but it's changing, you know, for us. That's what we're looking for. So.
All right, we've got to take a break from this interview with Jay to talk about ADM Animal Nutrition. They're sponsoring this episode, and they're announcing the relaunch of their Stay Strong product line. ADM Stay Strong Metabolic Mineral Pellets are a mineral, vitamin, and digestive supplement designed for starch-sensitive horses to help them receive much-needed nutrition without the extra calories and starch. ADM's Stay Strong 33 Ration Balancer is a pelleted protein, vitamin, and mineral product designed for horses that need additional protein, such as growing horses, broodmares, and the high-level performance horse. Learn more and find a retailer near you at admequine.com. Now, I've heard over the years, I'm with these team ropers constantly, and all the chatter about the judging, or not understanding the judging, or saying you guys are working on the judging. Tell me, kind of, maybe there is or isn't, an evolution in the judging, and how you've come to understand specifically what you're looking for.
Well, the kind of guys that I'm looking for to judge my events, and all the last 3 years, I'm looking for guys who have showed horses, and I'm looking for guys who have rodeoed, both sides of the spectrum. Like T. Woolman, Nick Sarche, Jay Ellerman, Justin Johnson. This year we have Mark Ray and Sean Darnell. These guys have all showed horses throughout their career, and they've all rodeoed throughout their career. And it takes it's just not all about going out there and being a fast time. Your horse has got to look good. Just because you make a really fast run don't mean your horse look good doing it, And I've just always tried to get some guys from both sides of the spectrum. And yes, it is getting tougher now. Now that we have some good video and stuff, we sit down with these judges and we try to show them anybody can sit there and look and see what kind of horse they like. But actually judging it and putting it on a piece of paper is really tough. So, 2 days before the event starts, we take our judges and we might go do some live judging, or right now I have some really good footage Pace Freed put together for me, and we got some
awesome.
slow motion video. We got some live action video that we did at Lazy E this year, and this year we're going to have 2 slow motion different views and 2 live action. So it's getting better, and I don't care what they say. I could sit there with JD, everybody knows me and him have been together our whole lives, and we wouldn't judge it the same. We look at different things. And it's just like a bronc riding, a bull riding, a cutting, cow horse. It's not always going to be perfect when it's a judged event, but I do feel like if they get the first 4 or 5 up there in the right order, those horses that really stick out, the judges are doing a good job,
Do they sit together, or how does...
the first year they did sit together, and, I had some feedback on that.
Oh,
so
really?
now I set one on each side of the arena, wherever they want to be. I've had some people ask me about maybe just getting headers to judge the heading, just getting heelers to judge the heeling, and that's all good. But then, there you go, it all comes down to a financial. It's just, It takes a lot of money. I try to pay them guys good to come and do it because I want good people. And as we get going, maybe we can do something like that. I do understand when you sit there and watch 100 head horses go 3 times that day, that's a lot. Well, the first year we had the Futurity, I was thinking we would have 50 head horses, 75 heel horses. We showed for 18 and a half hours. I had 1 day to do it. We made it work. It was long. So next year NRCHA said, hey, you can have 2 days. Well, this year we're putting it over 3 days, so maybe a bit a little easier on our judges.
How has the feedback been from the NRCHA of having you guys as a part of?
I think they see the people we bring. I do know that all the trainers. I'm good friends with a lot of the trainers. I go to a lot of I go to all the major events with my wife. She shows cow horses with Corey Cushing, and them guys love it because they can move some horses. Maybe if those horses ain't going to make it, they can sell them. The owners can get some money, buy another one, And then, like I say, a lot of these guys are keeping them themselves. I know Matt Cook's entered this year. He hasn't been there, and just getting those guys to enter, I think it's good. They're all great horse trainers, and they can train anything. So it'll be good, be interesting.
I remember the first year I went. I had texted a few friends in the industry, and they were like, "The what?" And I was like, I'm flying in for the Rope Horse Futurity."
Right.
And sure enough, I was sitting with one of the heads of Wrangler, Resistol, and none of them had even realized that it was happening.
Right.
But sure enough, all the heads of industry are essentially sitting in a front row, just amazed by it.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's what we're trying to get, some corporate sponsors. Right now, have a lot of people, a lot of owners. Breeders, supporting this because they see what it's doing for the industry, and I have a lot of people wanting us to do more events. Right now, I don't really want any more events. I just want to keep them right where they're at and keep them all good. Right now, I have people asking me when's Scottsdale, when's Tulsa, And that's what I want. I think if you get them too spread out, then everything's going to be too broken up.
Sure.
Now, obviously, there is a couple others that might be coming in, maybe Casper, Wyoming, and up in North Dakota somewhere on a little smaller scale, which is great. I think up in those two areas, we'll get some different people coming, then we can get them all come to Fort Worth.
Yeah, Casper feels like we could bring a couple colts up to Casper.
Exactly,
That's not too far.
And and then you touch Montana and Utah,
sure.
and that's kind of what we need to do, But it's tough. It's hard to get the money, and that's what I tell everybody. I have no problem putting on a Rope Horse Futurity, but I can't get the money for you. My people are very good right now, and things are rolling. But if other people get together and want to do some, I think it'd be fine.
Do you think the future of the Rope Horse Futurity industry could be anything like the Barrel Horse Futurity industry, where there's so many and there's all different producers putting them on, and there's all that kinds of money? Are we just not that big? Is it just such a different species?
I'd like to hope, but I think that's a long ways away.
Sure.
But the barrel horse industry didn't grow over 5 years. Like I say, I'm always looking, wanting to do more things, and I know a lot of guys are wanting to go to more, but I don't want to get it so flooded that people pick where they go, Obviously,
sure.
yeah, I'd love to have about 4 Fort Worth a year would be great, and I think when we get moved to Scottsdale, I think I can make that a pretty significant futurity too. So
you said you're moving to Scottsdale within a year?
Yeah, probably in a year we're going to move down there. So we bought some land and see what happens. So.
We're in the middle of our Arizona guide right now that we produce every year. Gosh, what a mecca!
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Oh, there's just everybody's roping and it used to be everybody's just going down there for 3 or 4 months. Now there's people going for like 7 months. So
people leave the 1st of October and don't come home till May.
Yeah,
it seems
exactly.
Like.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, in your career, you've seen all of the best head and heel horses of the last 30 years.
30-some years.
years. I don't want to insult you. Can you say the greatest of all times on each end?
Oh man.
Rodeo, horse show, all time.
Oh, like Charles Bogue's horse sticks out just because what he did, heel horse. There's just been a lot of great horses, I think all the great headers at one time or another have had a great horse. I can't really, just specify very many other horses, but I do know that everybody who's had a lot of great success have had good horses to get them there, because you can't just get on a donkey and go win.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really just pick them apart. Like JD, he's had some great horses. And they've all went to AQHA World Championships to out there being the horse of the year, and it's just hard to pick one. There's a lot, but I think the contribute to success to what, like Jake Barnes has done, he had to have some good horses to do it. They may all be great ropers, but they've had to have, as you can tell now, you can kind of watch those guys that have great horses, they're the ones winning. Then when they lose that great horse, they might go by the wayside for a little bit until they find another one,
What about that horse you won the BFI on? What horse was that?
JD?
Yeah.
That was a horse they called Buster. He roped steers on him. They did everything on that horse. I can remember the first week that JD cracked him out. I think that horse was 5, and we went to Las Vegas to the rodeo, not to the NFR, but just to the rodeo. They run one inside and one outside, and we won the rodeo there. And that horse had never been ducked like JD ducked him there that day, but obviously we were being 4, and now they laugh at you for being 4. I think sometimes you got to be 3, but it's just all changed, and
what horse were you riding then?
I was probably riding a horse called I was probably riding Pac-Man, a horse of JD's, or I had a horse that was Detour that was bred like all those horses, and we rode so many different ones, but.
If somebody were to watch you and JD both working on a 4-year-old, maybe watch you in the morning and watch JD in the afternoon, what differences would they see in what you guys do?
Well, me and JD's success has always been, I'm not known as a horse trainer per se. I've never liked the aspect. I've always been that guy of, I don't care how good a horse you put me on, if I can't catch on him, it's still a zero. You know, when we're showing. And JD's always loved the training part of it. Now, I like to take older horses, tune them up, and do that. That's kind of my thing.
Gotcha.
And JD's kind of always been the trainer. And it's kind of funny because I know that people that listen to this, they'll be, Jay's not a horse trainer. Well, I'm really not. I don't like the 4-year-old deal. I don't, or the young horse deal, you know. All the trainers, they say when we go to the horse shows and they get me to ride him, well, he's not ready for Jay yet. And everybody knows, you know. And they get him when they're kind of almost seasoned, and then I can get on and go show them, you know. All my guys I work for at the horse shows, they get them ready for me. You know, I don't have any training horses here. Yeah. I've just always kind of been a hired jockey. So, you know.
That's awesome.
Which is a great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what, tell me, were you and JD raised together? How did that evolution happen?
Well, my mom and Dick are brother and sister.
Okay.
And, you know, we just grew up together, you know, and I grew up roping. When I got to be in high school, they would always go to Arizona in the winter to rope. And I started staying there at their place and, you know, feeding, taking care of stuff. And this is way before we had any show horses or anything, you know. And then JD built a barn, and it just kind of all grew, you know. And when AQHA was really huge and the horse business was going crazy, it just all worked. And I went to school for 4 years. But it just come down to, you know, we got to going and roping and making money and flying around and rodeoing, and it was great. You know, I quit school and very fortunate. That was a great way to make a living. You know, I'd go to a horse show and make some money, go back out there rodeoing, and, you know, had a little job on the side to make it all work, you know. So, and that's kind of how it all went. We started working for some people in Collierville, Tennessee, Lee and Alma Lyles. And JD was riding their horses, and they hired me just to go and head or heel for him. And as he got other horses, then I started showing the ones he did. And, of course, I come up through the youth and the amateur, too, you know. So it wasn't easy, but it was probably an easier road for me than it would be for a lot of people, you know.
Did your mom rope?
My mom roped. My dad roped, you know. Our whole family roped, you know. And, you know, obviously Dick and JD's family roped.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Did your mom have the bug? Like Dick had the bug as far as roping?
Yeah. My mom run the Miss Rodeo America pageant for 20-some years, you know,
Gotcha.
And she still likes to ride, and they come over to my house, you know, 2 or 3 times a week and rope or ride or watch the boys rope or, you know, so.
Are you going to encourage your boys to make a career out of roping?
Oh, you know, they both rope good. They've done good at the World Series. You know, I wouldn't discourage them. But, you know, it's a rough life. It's a tough life, you know. But if they wanted to do it, I'm all about it. But I think right now, a young kid starting out, I always tell them, go do it while you can. You know, it's a lot tougher when you get married and have kids and a house payment. Not that there ain't some guys doing it, but there's just not as many that can make it work, you know. But go do it while you can. You know, you got the rest of your life to work. Get after it, you know. You don't want to be that guy 40, 50 years old sitting at home wondering if you could have did it, you know. So.
Absolutely. Well, sir, that is what I needed.
Okay.
Rope Horse Futurity, before we go, what are the dates?
17th, 18th, and 19th of October. We'll start Thursday. 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to run the first 3 rounds of the heading, kind of be a short day. Then we go Friday morning, the 18th, start at 8 o'clock, we'll run the first 3 rounds of the heeling. And then Friday night, 6 o'clock, we're going to do the finals of the heading and the heeling. Saturday morning, we will do all the non-pro stuff and then be able to get done, go right over there in the Will Rogers Coliseum and watch the Snafflebait guys do their thing.
And you guys are in the John Justin Arena this year,
Yes, we'll
correct?
be in the John Justin, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening to this episode. Remember, it was brought to you by ADM Animal Nutrition and their relaunch of the Stay Strong product line. Their Stay Strong Metabolic Mineral Pellets are a mineral, vitamin, and digestive supplement designed for starch-sensitive horses to help them receive much-needed nutrients without the extra calories and starch. Find out more at admequine.com.